All right. This is going to be episode 4. This is January 30th. We just wrapped up a special interview with a ARCA driver. He's doing a couple races this year. You'll get that interview will be up probably after this one. Um we didn't do one last week, so we got quite a bit of ground to cover up topic wise and news. Uh Other than that, whoever wants to do a first topic, we can go from there.
Well, I'm gonna go ahead if Dave don't mind
Go right ahead, my man.
and hit up with the one we've talked about several times over the last few weeks. Is a deal between NASCAR and Mike Harmon Racing. Uh, a judge has ruled that the penalties and sanctions against Mike Harmon Racing are illegal and void, since it was a charity event used in a vehicle used not sanctioned by NASCAR at the moment, a car Port Alva museum, and there was no mention of any affiliation with NASCAR when the event was done. So all the penalties and such that NASCAR's tried to implement have been voided.
Yeah, I heard he won uh his appeal or whatever, so that's good for
Yeah.
him.
Yes. Uh, and we predicted this, that there's no way this could stand. As Frank stated, at an unsanctioned track, at an unsanctioned event, with an unsanctioned car, y- and you want to call it a test session? I mean, come on. That is one of the biggest overreaches I've ever seen. Well, I don't know ever, but
Recent. Just say recent.
recent overreaches that NASCAR has ever tried to pull off. I mean, it was laughable from the beginning. But yay, Mike Harmon. That's all I can say is yay for fighting it and winning.
Before we get going, Frank, you want to move your camera down a little bit so I'm not just seeing like neck up. There you go.
Get that Mark Martin in there.
um I guess I can go on to the next one. Let's do one out of the hat. We kind of I wrote this down. I know you wrote it because you started talking to me yesterday about it. Greg Biffle. Greg Biffle
Yes.
is slated to actually run not just Daytona, and actually coming back into the series under the car number 44 NY Racing Team. I've never heard of them. I know they've been in and out from what I've researched a little bit. But yeah, that's actually surprising. He's going to come back and race, it seems like a full schedule, in the number 44 Chevrolet that is linked to RCR. So it's going to be like a third teammate, kind of like how Wood Brothers is to Penske.
I saw that as. Go ahead, Frank.
I'm saying it's interesting to see Biffle coming back. I've been kind of following Biffle on his dirt track racing through his Facebook and his Twitter and stuff, and it's good to see him get back into NASCAR.
Yeah, I hope it's not a one and done.
Well, and go ahead.
No, I hope it's not a one and done. I hope he comes back. I didn't really like him in Roush because he had the cocky attitude, and I don't really like Roush. But I hope he does well, and I hope it opens a door for Ryan Newman. I've been hoping so much because right now the Daytona 500 isn't filled with 40 cars yet. That is another.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, that's going to lead me to my next one, but it is. I just wanted to finish up with Greg Biffle, though, because there's a few interesting facts here that when I saw that he was going to get in that 44 car for the Daytona 500 and had the possibility of running the full season, I was kind of surprised to relearn that he parted ways with Roush in 2016. I didn't realize it had been that long.
Right.
I was also surprised to relearn that in 2019 he raced one time uh, in any NASCAR sanctioned event, which was with Kyle Busch Racing in the trucks,
That's right. I remember that.
and he won. He won that race, and then reading farther, I found out that he ran all last year in the SRX Legends.
Yeah.
Yeah, I knew
I
that.
think that kind of gave him the juices again. Even though it was always there, but that showed him that I still got it. So I hope he does well.
I do too, and I hope he is able to run the whole year.
He's got
But yeah, you're
contacts to
right. It
get.
was just something came up this week that he landed this ride, and I'm like you, Brian. I have never heard of NY Racing.
It's not even on NASCAR's front page, because on the front page they literally have all the teams. The NY Racing's not even labeled there. So that is a very small team that's putting a big name in there. So I hope he does well, especially that it's associated with Richard Childress. That'd be a third car for, little Dylan there.
Mentioning NY Racing, they've been, according to this, they've been trying to put a team together for over a year now. So that tells you the effort how long they've been trying to get this thing rolling.
Agreed.
There's another team trying to. I don't know if this kind of roll into it, but Floyd Mayweather, TMT Racing, the Money Team Racing. He has a race team. He's been trying to get into racing for a while, and apparently he's tapped Kaz Gralla to race for him, at least in the Daytona. Apparently that's a rumor, hasn't been announced yet, but he's gonna be in the number 50 car because that's Floyd Mayweather is 50 wins, whatever. But he has a race team, and he's apparently gonna actually try to get going and be another black owner like Michael Jack or Jordan.
Another athlete.
Another athlete, bring him in there. So, well, that really hasn't been announced yet, but that is rumored heavily. So we'll see what happens the next coming weeks.
Yeah, I've been seeing Floyd Mayweather's name come up for the last 2 years with speculation of him doing a NASCAR team, with nothing coming of it substantial. So this is the first time he's actually announced that he had something to put on the table as far as a team and a driver and such. Like he's been trying for like over a year, almost 2. I've been seeing his name in and out, but nothing ever worth bringing up.
Yeah, I think this year with the new car, with how cost effective it is, I think it's a smart move for a lot of new owners to come in and try to do something. But
right,
we'll see how it goes. It really hasn't been announced yet, but it's been heavily speculated about how that's gonna go.
Okay. Back to the Daytona 500 and kind of tie this in with Greg Biffle. According to the rules, there are 36 chartered entries, with the 3 that they're talking about brings it to 39. There are 40 slots available, which is what the number 44 team is looking at. But the other 3, and I believe we've talked about this in previous episodes, is the number 27 Ford.
Yeah,
Team
who's racing the 27?
With Jack. Huh?
Who's racing the 27? It's a foreign guy. I forgot his name.
Jacques Villeneuve.
Yeah. He's
the 62 Ford with Noah Gregson, which is Beard Motorsports.
Okay.
And then the number 66 Ford with Timmy Hill, racing for. Where's it at? I just had it. They actually don't list it. But those are the 3 that are entered, along with the 36 other chartered teams And then they add in the 44 of Greg Biffle, which, as Brian said, is going to be kind of a satellite team of Richard Childress Racing.
Mhm.
That'll bring it to 40, which is, I think, a full field.
Yeah, now it's 40 for a field. Yes.
So those could be your four that fill out the Daytona 500 and be interesting. I think of all the of these four unchartered, I think obviously Greg Biffle's got the best chance to take this opportunity and run with it.
Oh yeah, he's got he's
Definitely.
got good equipment. It's just his unknown name team, but he's got the equipment.
Yep. But a dark horse would be Jacques Villeneuve. I
Yeah.
mean that. But
Yeah.
anyway, it was interesting I wasn't aware. I guess the thing that stuck out to me in this particular storyline that we're doing is that I wasn't aware that there was only 36 chartered teams.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yep.
I mean, if you want to put a full field on, why don't they have 40 chartered teams?
Well, I think this goes back to the previous format where the top 36 in points, not charter teams, but in points, were guaranteed a spot in the race. Okay. Um. The, so they went back to the other four teams. Okay, had to pretty much still had to race their way in. I think they just kept that format with the charters. Because if you were 36 in points or above, you were basically guaranteed a spot in the race. You had to qualify for your position, but you were still basically in the field as long as there's an active team in the top 36 in points. Okay, so they just took it that format to make and sold the charter to make NASCAR more money.
I just don't know why they let. I mean,
I don't either, but that's what I mean. That's what it was before. So I mean, they made it just like I said, just stuck with that, kept with that.
well, with this format, and they want to put 40 on the track for the start. These four teams being the 27, 62, 66, and 44 show up, turn a lap, and
Park it.
you're in.
Yep.
Park it and you're in. I mean, are we going back to the Joe Nemechek days? Just to get in
Starting
a
Park.
race?
You know, I had no problem with the starting Park teams. Okay, mainly because it gave low-funded teams a chance to get into a race. It got the driver's name out there, give him a chance to get his name out there as being on the track. So it actually opened doors for a few people. It gave it gave the little guy a chance to get in the show. All right.
That's what this
So
new car is supposed to do. It's supposed to even the playing field.
right. Um. So we'll see. That was my that's why I never had a problem with it when they did do the starting Park. I never had an issue with it because I like the little guy. Okay. I like seeing the little guy have a chance to at least get his name in there. And it gave him that chance. And like you said, the new car, they can afford to get the new car and get into the show. And leaving four slots open, like I said, gives them that chance. They don't have to buy a charter. They can try to race into the race, but it gives them that shot.
The only way they're going to have to race their way into the race is if a fifth or a sixth or a seventh team
Right.
shows up. Otherwise,
Right.
they're like I said, all you got to do is go around the track, start the duels, and you're in.
Right.
You know, and you might have the best starting spot of the field with the new car if you're way in the back.
Yeah.
I mean, uh, which leads me to the shortage of parts is becoming a bigger and bigger and bigger thing as time goes on for these teams. Um, I saw a lot of stories, and without getting into specifics, their teams are voicing some big concerns about this. Seeing as how they have to, as we've discussed, buy them from certain vendors, and there's only a finite amount of availability.
Right.
I think it's gonna come down to, instead of being a vendor, like if you can make it, make it. But it's
They
gonna
may have to do that and then just get approved,
get approval.
inspected
Yeah,
and approved.
yeah. I think that's what's gonna have to come down to. It's each one of these, you know, like Hendricks or Childress and even Penske and all, they have the capabilities to make these.
They have the
parts.
resources.
So you might as well.
Gibbs.
How about you, instead of having Childress make let's say the lug nut, because it's very special. How about you give that blueprint or CNC file to everybody, and then they can make it and just make sure it's approved to use, have it pass inspection or whatever. Because
If
one
NASCAR
person.
wa-
If one person or one company's doing it, they're not going to make it. Now, if you give it to everybody to be able to make it themselves, instead of some tomfoolery trying to make it or whatever, they have to pass inspection. That's what's going to happen. They're going to have to make their own stuff if shortage keeps happening.
Agreed.
It would be NASCAR to approve that kind of move. They're not going to do it.
They might have to. They might be forced to when
Right.
2 races down the line they don't have parts to make new cars.
It's going to take that to let them make that decision. Have multiple vendors.
It's
Well,
gonna.
What are they going to do after they have the big one or two at Daytona and the teams
well,
are crying because they
yeah.
don't have any parts?
Well, think about it.
Right.
How many races are at Daytona? They got the duels, they got practices, they got qualifying. When if you remember a few years back when Stewart Haas first merged, they didn't have extra cars. They crashed all their cars prior to that main race. So if they crashed more, they would have to literally, try to fix an older car. They didn't have extra cars even then. So what happens now? Like it's to a point there's going to be a shortage because you can't predict that no one's going to crash at Daytona, or they need, I don't know.
I promise you, we're going to have more than one big one at Daytona just because of the new car.
Well, yeah, if you've been watching or reading up, they're losing control of this car on short tracks.
Chase spun out
twice.
at
Kyle
Phoenix.
Busch did too, and there's another one that crashed and he actually rear-ended it. I want to say David Gilliland, but I can't remember the name. But yeah, they're spitting out on tracks that they normally wouldn't. So this car is a little bit more, how should I say it? Irrational? No. Irregular? No. Just harder to drive. Unpredictable. I can't remember the word, but yeah, it's not as easy to drive. It's more in the driver's hands instead of just driving down the in the corner and just turn. It's a lot more uncontrollable. I guess that's the word.
Yeah.
It's not. That's why they
lose control faster than they can regain it.
Yeah, it's harder to control. They've been. We'll see how it goes. I'm really interested in the Daytona big pack racing. See how that car works with all the wind and everything just bouncing off each other. It's going to be interesting.
The duels are going to be a no miss thing because that's going to tell us.
Yes, they're going to learn a lot.
Yeah,
they're going to learn like, oh shit, don't do that. Even though, like we talked about, even in testing, they learned a lot how to draft. So we'll see how they implement that.
Yeah, but they were only doing that 5 or 6 at a time.
Correct.
They weren't doing it 21
But think about it. If they break away 5 or 6 wide, they know what to do. But they got to get to that point.
Right.
If it's even possible in a big pack, we don't know how this car is going to react in these big pack races.
Okay.
I kind of almost to that scenario we were just talking about, kind of good leeway is NASCAR came out with the penalties this past week, and they are hefty. They are not going to put up with this shit this year. They're not going to put up with any tomfoolery. If you mess with it, you are in trouble. I'll do like a Cliff Notes. The L1 penalties are pretty much like the most minor, which is a post-race failure to meet minimum weight requirements. Violations is what they include. Team source parts not meeting the NASCAR rules. Failure in the submission approval process. The penalty will include 20 to 75 points. This is just the minimal. L1, playoff points deduction 1 to 10. Suspension of one crew member 1 to 3 races. Fines $25 to $100,000. The L2 penalties, which is like the medium, is the violations include modification to single source NASCAR next gen parts, not rising to L3, violations of engine seal requirements, unapproval altercations to the engine control system wiring, use of unapproved onboard electronics. Penalties include points deduction of 75 to 100 points, playoff points deduction 10 to 25, suspension of 1 or 2 crewmates 4 to 6 races, and fines to 100 to 250 grand. L3 is huge because if you here, it's watch. L3 the violations include counterfeiting or modifying single source next gen parts, which is kind of like what we talked about, making your own.
Right.
Engine infractions, which means cubic inch displacement, compression ratio, assembly, and internal components, and performance enhancement, nitrous oxide vacuum leak. Someone puts nitrous on their car, you're stupid. Engine control unit or electric fuel injection violations, modifying tires or fuel, violation of private team testing policy. Here are the penalties for this. Deduction of 120 to 180 points. That's like 5 or 6 races. Like
Yeah.
that puts you from like 10th to like, 30th almost. Playoff points deduction 25 to 50. That pretty much knocks you out unless you win in the playoffs.
Right.
All right. Suspension of 1 or 2 crew members for 6 races, fines of $250 to $500,000, and this also right here, nullifying postseason eligibility, regardless of wins, points, and other qualifying criteria. That means you're out. If they give you an L3, you cannot go to the playoffs. 1 race suspension for the team in the event of repeat high violations. I think of
In
them,
other words, don't screw with the parts.
yes, essentially don't screw with the parts, because if you get an L3, you're not going to the playoffs, even if you win.
I heard an interview on NASCAR, Sirius XM NASCAR this week, and it wasn't Robin Pemberton. It was, doesn't matter. And he was defending these rules and stated that some of these penalties were suggestions from the teams. And one of the things that they've done is they've encased these parts. And I don't know what that means, but you get a part, you can't take it apart. Whether it's a gearbox or a rear end or...
So they pretty much like have safety seals on them in case.
Yes. And if those safety seals are broken, that's when you automatically almost go to the L3. If you get caught in any way trying to tamper with those parts and use them on the track, it's automatically an L3. You cannot do that. My question is, I hope that you don't only have one rear end.
Yeah.
So what's to stop a team from taking that apart and trying to help themselves understand it back at the shop and not use it? I'm not saying they would, take it apart and try and put it back together. But if I'm an engineer and I'm dealing with a finite amount of adjustables and variables, I would want to know how that works. So I would take a throwaway, take it back to the shop. I wouldn't tell anybody, but I would dissect that thing so I understood how it worked. Is that an L3?
Maybe NASCAR already given them all that information. Maybe they got the blueprints. Maybe they even have one that's on, tore apart, be able to look at. But it's one of those things, they can't mess with it anyways.
And use it anyway.
Yeah, they can't even adjust like gear ratios or changing, their rear end. So it's one of those things, yeah, they might want to understand it to where what's happening, but I don't know. I don't know if I like that or not, because what if you're in the middle of a race? 'Cause I've seen it before where rear end goes out. They just replace it. They put a new rear end in, they're good to go in a race. Now you got 5 minutes. So
Yeah.
I
I've
don't know.
never liked that 5-minute rule.
I don't know. I don't know exactly what parts they're talking about because obviously this is a whole new car, so I'm sure they all know. So I guess we're gonna find out if anybody tries to mess with the rules. See what happens.
I just hope if they get dinged that NASCAR is very explanatory on what they did.
Yeah, you're not gonna have a Chad Knaus try to, or Ray Evernham try to. Oh, loophole.
Yeah. Or crack that rear end for you, bring it down pit lane.
Yeah. So it's gonna be interesting because right now with those, that's detrimental to your season. A lot of those, very
Well,
detrimental.
And then you're gonna have the gray areas, but
Yeah.
we'll see, and just kind of take it as I'm kind of looking forward to the first penalty and then being able to dissect it exactly. What did they do, and why was that a problem?
Mm-hmm.
So I want to get two little things out of the way here, and it's just personal interest. Actually, three. Daytona 500 is sold out in the stands and in the RV lot, which I just think is cool. This is like 30 plus years or 25 plus years that they've actually sold out the race. So not much needs to be said on that. I just wanted to point it out. This might take a little bit of time. LGB Crypto is suing NASCAR. Did y'all see that?
No, but I almost expected it.
Breach contract.
Well,
They approved them as a sponsor and then pulled it back after the contract was signed.
oh, good.
And I think it's awesome.
Good.
And this is a Newsmax report. It's not any sports ESPN or anything like that. They actually had, and I saw this personally, an interview with the CEO of LGB Currency on their air, and he says, yeah, we are suing the shit out of them for breach contract. And he says, and it's not going to stop us from making sure he makes every race.
That's what I'm saying. He's good to go.
He's good to go. But they're suing NASCAR.
Good.
And I think it's great because NASCAR.
You shouldn't depict who's your sponsor. If you got a sponsor, let them race, unless it's I don't know, something really negative or bad. But just because you don't want to be political, even though you were political all last year with Bubba Wallace.
Thank you. But yeah, I wanted to get that out there. The rest of mine are going to take a little bit of time. A little bit of another quick hit is Jeremy Mayfield sighting.
Yeah.
He's talking about doing the full schedule in the SRX series this year.
Oh, okay, that's good.
I think it's fine. I mean, one of the best memes I ever saw on Facebook was after Brian France got busted and taken out. Jeremy sliding up sideways to him in the number 19 Dodge that he raced for Ray Evernham, saying, "Hey Brian, you need a ride?" But anyway, Jeremy's trying to make a comeback, and he's stated, or there's rumors around that he's going to race the Tony Stewart thing for the whole season. So, all right, I got mine out of the way. What you guys got?
Couple of minor things. I'm trying to pick which one I want to do. I guess I'll do this because this was kind of something that we've talked about a few weeks now. Is North Wilkesboro is getting a $40 million state, I guess, grant to do upgrades and bring NASCAR back to the track.
Yep.
It was last ran in 1996, and Jeff Gordon was the winner. So, and I think that's huge. And apparently, the trucks are going to be the first ones. They're trying to get there first, and they're going to try to do the other ones, but they got to $40 million. That's going to be quite a bit to rejuvenate that track. It's just not talk anymore. It's actually happening.
Oh, it is happening.
Yeah.
And Dale Jr. is heavily
Yep.
involved in this. I mean, big time with personal effort and monetary. Again, I think last time we talked about this is a big thing on the local news in my area. They are pulling out every stop to get this track basically rebuilt with the goal of the government behind them.
Yep.
To try and get racing, and as Brian said, trucks first, and hopefully leading to Xfinity and stepping into the Cup back there again.
It's not
but
just it's not just trucks. It's actually like the truck president. He's a huge advocate to get it going. It's just not like, oh, we want trucks. The track one. It's the truck's president is.
Oh, there's a lot.
Yeah.
There's a lot of big hitters that are involved in this.
Yeah, it's not a small thing for sure.
Yeah, and the backstory of this is if and when they get this track back up, at which there's some Facebook pages that I follow concerning this. They have made amazing progress at basically redoing this. The backstory on this is when they're done here, they're moving on to Rockingham. The same group of people
Good.
are moving on to Rockingham to try and do the same thing.
They need to revive these old tracks. Like it'll bring a lot of, I think, not older fans, but it'll bring a lot of fans that are like, oh, really? Like that'd be cool, you know. So, and you know, a lot of these
NASCAR roots.
Yeah, roots. Yeah, for sure.
But good call there.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. It wasn't just like a bunch of donations from everybody. It was actually from the state. 40 mil. That's gonna go a long way.
It is, and like I said, if you Google it and follow everything that comes up, you're going to find out, like I said, Dale Jr.'s involved, a lot of the local government, the state government, a lot of private entities. This is a big deal. And they're going full bore, balls to the wall on this, trying to get this working out.
Definitely excited for it.
I would like to see those old tracks come back. I'm kind of love to see that.
There's no reason to go to Pocono twice a year.
Another track they're redoing is the old Nashville Fairgrounds. That was an article I saw a few months back with the Nashville Fairgrounds. I want to redo the Nashville Fairgrounds and bring them back. Yeah. Not the Nashville not the Motorsports Park, but the old racetrack. So that'd be interesting as well.
It would.
I guess the other one I got a small little one. Tony Stewart's going to be in the booth for Fox for the Clash
at the Coliseum, and they've announced also for the Daytona 500.
So I think it's more of let him try to see how he likes it and maybe go from there, because they got to replace Gordon somehow. So I think putting Tony in there with Clint, I think it'd be a good combo.
It's gonna be funny.
Yeah,
it's gonna be fun.
That was
and
announced,
I've also seen rumors of Mark Martin possibly getting in the booth. And I don't know whether that's with Fox or NBC. But either or, he's not in the booth. I would too. He's not going to be the comedic side of things. He's going to be more of the analytical. But I think it would be great whether he does it or not.
Mm-hmm. That was a little small something that was nice. There was something I read. I have it here. NASCAR has boosted the purse for the Busch Light Clash by $750,000 to just under $2 million total, to compensate for the larger field and further travel than normal. So that's kind of like you're something they're traveling all this way. So they boosted the purse by $750,000 for the Clash. So
they need to do something, because I'll tell you what, I have seen some posts where they're done with the track, and I'm
Yep.
actually, after seeing the images, I'm a little more excited because it's flat.
Oh yeah.
It's
They're gonna be
flat.
banging in the corners for sure. They're gonna be
Oh yeah, it's
yeah.
gonna take 8 wheels to turn a corner in that thing,
Yep.
or
Especially
16.
for the money they're putting up now.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be interesting to
Um.
watch for sure. Now the question is the infield, and if they're gonna work on cars, how is that gonna work out? So it'd be interesting to see the actual layout when the cars and are they putting the semi trailers in the center? Is that all gonna be just nothing but the pits, pit boxes and stuff? So it's gonna be interesting how that works.
It's gonna be very interesting, but I was I guess I had my mindset before I saw these images this week that they were gonna try and make it like a mini Bristol,
Oh,
um, high bank type, and I saw that thing's flat. This is gonna be. I'm getting more and more
interested.
interested, as you guys have known. I'm like, what are we doing here? But I'm getting more interested in it. We'll see. I mean, next week it's
Yeah,
gonna
we're
happen, and
we're like I said. I guess that's a good segue to talk about it. It starts next week, next Saturday at 12:30 for the Bush Light Clash practice. Um, that's on Fox Sports 2. And then at 8:30 p.m. is Bush Light Clash single car qualifying on Fox Sports 1. And then the Sunday at 3 p.m. is the Bush Light Clash qualifying heat races, 4 of them on Fox. Then at 4:10 approximately is the Bush Light Clash last chance qualifiers, 2 LCQ. So I don't know what that means. LCQ, last chance qualifiers. That on Fox, and then at 6 p.m. is the Bush Light Clash main event. So next weekend is gonna be a full event of racing, bringing NASCAR back from the to start the whole season off.
Yep.
So I think I'm actually optimistically excited to see how it goes. Especially it's a new track they just built on something that's we haven't seen them race on before ever. Something that small and that flat. The huge prize purse, the new cars. It's gonna be interesting. They're gonna either say "fuck it," we're gonna just race and crash, or they're gonna I don't know how it's gonna go. It's gonna be interesting to see how strategies play out.
the only thing I'm concerned about this is, in past Bush Light clashes, whatever they used to be called, you always brought a throwaway car to that. That's not the case this
No,
year,
yeah,
because it's
these are
going to be
all
the
new.
next.
These are not
Yeah,
throwaways. These are
this was, your first or your last
yeah.
type races, and that's not the case now. This is the brand, and this, whatever car they're going to take, they've got to, because of the parts situation, that's going to be in the back of the minds of some of these drivers, especially the lesser funded ones.
Mhm.
Even though they're in the clash, which means they won something of some significance last year to be participating. It, Again, when we did this thing down at Daytona, you brought something that wasn't necessarily top notch, but was good. And if you crashed it, so what? Send that shit back to the shop and rebuild it.
It's
Now
parts.
it's
Yeah,
like they're gonna have to take a lot better care of it.
especially with this parts
Um,
shortage. This is very special, rare occasion. What's happening with this?
yep. You're not, again, I think obviously just because of the layout of the track and the newness of the track, you're going to see a lot of caution, which kind of,
I hope they let them bang and bang unless someone really does crash. I don't want caught. Well, I guess like debris, but I want just let them at it. But have
but
at it,
they're not
boys.
going to do it because they're wasting valuable commodities if they do.
It, that's what that track's made for.
What comes to mind? You mentioned them beat and bang is you mentioned how these cars are put together the last show. Um, I'm looking at with that kind of deal, how much debris will be on the track because of that.
Yeah.
You know, you mentioned they just snapped on or they're just in pieces. How much more debris that's going to cause at a track like this.
We're gonna find out a lot of this new car in Daytona alone, but in the coming, first half of the season of how this car works and operates and how fast they can fix it and what they can do and how fast the turnaround is. And that kind of reminds me, I kind of did the fast turnaround. I sent you, Dad, a video. I don't know if you watched it of the pit stops. Did you watch that video I sent you?
Where they're turning the left front into the right rear.
Yeah, they're with the single lugs now. It's not just the front guy goes front left, front right, and back guy goes back right, back left, the rear. It's a weird. They're trying something. I seen some do the old way, some's doing this way. They do the normal outside tires in the right rear. They all come around, and he'll do the front left. And the guy that did the front right, he'll come around and do the right or left rear. Yeah, the tire changers will both go to the front. And it's weird how they rotate. It's pretty interesting, and it's something they're trying to see how fast it is. I have to send you the video, Frank, but it's pretty interesting if you watch it.
I'm trying to picture this.
I'll send you the video right now so you can get like a live reaction, but. Where is it at?
Do they pull the lug off? They go to the next, someone else to pull the tire off and go to the next one?
Everything's the same with the tire changing, but the guy's taking off the lugs. The guy who does the right rear does the left front. And the guy who does the right front does the left rear. You'll see when I send this video. It's pretty interesting. I don't know if I can bring it up on here or not.
You got my number. Just text me the link.
I did. I just texted to our chat, our group text.
Yeah, I just got it again.
I got it.
Yeah, just watch the drivers. It doesn't go slow mo. Just watch the tire changers, who does the lugs, because they both go around the front, and it's pretty cool. I don't know if it's faster or not, but they're testing a new style. I thought it was interesting.
I'm going to take keep talking, because I am going to take a second and watch this, because I have a question, but I don't want it to be a stupid question.
There is no stupid questions.
TikTok wants me to verify to continue. Never mind.
Really?
Oh yeah. So I can't see it. I think that's why I didn't watch it the other day. Let's see. Open.
Well, I think it's pretty cool. I've only seen a few drivers doing that, and I've seen...
Okay, I got it open.
I've seen other drivers doing the old way. Just watch the tire changers. They both go to the front, and the guy who's doing the right rear does the left front, and the guy who does the right front does the left rear.
Okay, but they're switched. That was going to be my question. They're not using the same tires. They're changing all four of them.
Yeah, they're changing all four. Yeah, this is a 4-tire stop.
Okay.
You see how they're rotating?
And they're gaining that time because
the gas
only
can
got one lug versus 5.
Well, another one is they're not interrupting the gas tank either, because the gas guy had to back up before, let the tire guy go in, and then go back. Now they're not interrupting the gas guy. That's more gas in the tank too.
Okay.
I thought it was cool.
Makes sense.
I thought it was a cool thing that they're trying. I don't know if it's viable. We'll see who does it, but I thought it was a cool, they're trying to get every second they can. It matters.
Oh, it does. Absolutely, especially on the super speedways or the big tracks.
So I thought that was cool. Something I saw, and that was pretty interesting.
Right?
I'm looking at him like... At first they just kind of, what the hell are they doing?
Yeah, just gotta watch the tire changer. That's the only thing I saw that was the major difference. because they both went in front of the front of the car, and then they did it and they rotated. I thought it was a cool rotation.
Do you honestly want to know what really caught my eye?
What?
I'm looking at these cars. There's got to be 2 different cars. And I see a 6, and I see the Camry. I'm like, what to get a 6 on a Toyota Camry?
Oh, that's Brad Keselowski. It's both of them doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think but if they don't switch from it, it just goes right through it.
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah.
I got a
sounds
fun
interesting.
thing. Yeah, it is. I think it's pretty cool. I got a fun thing, or at least I'm gonna make it into a fun thing. We all know that Kyle Busch's contract ends at the end of this year, and he's in discussions. They've lost M&Ms. That in itself, I don't think's a big deal. And just for the record, I believe he will stay with Gibbs. They'll figure it out. But what I found interesting was the double secret sensitivity training that
Yeah,
Kyle
that's
Busch.
Yeah, where'd that we never even saw that one coming.
He
Because
said,
he called somebody a retard.
yeah, he said,
Yeah.
he said, I think it was one of the last races last year. They got in a little debacle, and if he wasn't racing like a retard,
Yeah. And a double secret, I was like, I didn't even know. I
knew about
the
it.
incident. I don't remember the particulars about it.
I knew that they said he had to take it. It's one of those things like it's kind of like Kyle Larson. He completed it right away. It's just they didn't announce it until recent, It's like really like, yes, people are so sensitive. You get mad at retard.
In the heat of the moment.
Yeah, like if Kyle Busch, Jesus.
It's like Tony throwing a camera down the pit lane and you can't understand that at Indianapolis. But I died. I mean, I was wiping tears when I saw that he had to take sensitivity training for that. But anyway.
Yeah, no, it was. Yeah, that's been kind of, I wouldn't say undercover, but it's been under the radar. But yeah, it wasn't like he said what Kyle Larson said, but it's more or less, it's kind of like how people always talk about Danica Patrick. She was just a better driver. She wasn't such a ditz, type of thing, He just said, oh, he wasn't driving like a damn retard. He said it in the heated moment. He didn't mean any derogatory thing about it. He was just saying he's an idiot.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't blame him. I don't blame him.
He used his in private language for it, but I just it was like the double secret. He had to go through it and then all of a sudden they can announce that he completed it. And I'm like, well, who was pissed? I don't remember anybody being upset about that.
I'm gonna have to actually look it up who he called. I don't know who he called. You guys can keep talking. I'll try to find it.
Okay.
The only other thing that I've got on here is Nolan Racing. They're doing
it out of
it.
4 for no reason. I mean, where was he going? What was he going to do? Spin me out? He was trying to do a Harvick, is what he was trying to do. For what? For second place?
Pauly Racing. The number
that?
16 Chevy. Daniel Hemrick is going to do 9 races in the Daytona 500. Noah Gregson is going to do 14, and AJ Allmendinger is going to do 16 to fill out the full schedule for the year. I hate it for those guys that they have to split the ride, but I like it for the team that they're actually going to be able to do all the races.
That's going to be Cup. That's going to be the Cup Series they're doing that?
Yep.
Okay. So I knew they were splitting the ride. I thought they were splitting the ride for the Xfinity team as one of their Xfinity teams as well at Cadillac Racing.
They are doing Xfinity as well, but I think this is the Cup Series that they're doing that. So,
okay.
But they're also all 3 of them. Again, they're splitting the Cup races and they're splitting the Xfinity races. So
All
it's.
right. I didn't hear
I think
about
it's
the
a
Cup.
Yeah.
He it was one of the cutoff races for Kyle Busch, and it was Brad Keselowski was coming up pretty quick, and Brad Keselowski was trying to pass him at the last lap, at the last corner, and hit Kyle Busch at the end, and that's what it was. And Kyle's like, "What was the point? You weren't gonna pass me. You weren't gonna get any points from it. What was the point? Just like, he's just a retard." The interview is just him in the heat in the moment. It was Brad Keselowski. He was calling that word.
Well, then I wholeheartedly agree.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I just. All right. I'm out of stuff. What do you guys got?
This isn't Cup. This is Trucks and Xfinity. But I'm gonna bring up the Haley Diggin thing. Going to her second year, David Gillen racing in the Truck Series with a Ford. This weekend she raced in the Mustang GT4 PR racing for the Michelin Pilot Challenge. Ford has made a comment that if she does well in the trucks this year, they would like to see her in the Xfinity Series in 23, making her the only female driver since Danica Patrick had a full-time ride in that series in 2012. They haven't mentioned whether they're going to try and get David Gillen truck racing up to Xfinity, or if she's going to go to one of SHR. But they would like to see her full time, and this is coming from Ford in the Xfinity Series. I mean, I think Haley's more apt to working on her performance, working on.
Yeah, she's a smart cookie. She's not like trying to push her way up. She wants to get.
Right.
She actually wants to win and perform. From what I've seen, so
and she's not doing it. She's not doing it for the hype. This isn't a Danica Patrick trying to get her name in and get the money in. She wants to do it for the racing, and she's not letting them use her as the female hype. She's not letting them use her as the sponsorship money. She wants to do it the right way, like everybody else, and that's what I respect about her.
Yeah,
That's cool.
I think she's doing it right. I think she's. Even though I think she's setting the tone for female drivers, which comes up, after her. Even though there are a few that are right behind her, they're not just using I'm a female, let me race, even regardless if I crash or not, you're gonna get money. She wants to perform. What I've seen in the past in the trucks, and she has done Xfinity races here and there in the ARCA. She's done. So far, probably, I think the best in the past, 15, 20 years. So she can get more experience under here, get some good equipment. I think she'll do well.
And she's getting a lot of seat time and other things. She's not just concentrating on the skills she learned, like the GT thing she did at Daytona this weekend. She's done other series to get seat time behind the wheel to learn. So you're right. She's trying to learn as much as she can and to perform better.
Yeah, she'll be fine. Give her a few more years. I don't know if she'll be like a top contender, but she'll definitely, I feel, do better than Danica if she ever gets to the Cup.
Right. And like I said, I like the fact she's not about the hype. She's about the performance and the racing.
Yes. Even though she's very popular on social media by her posts and whatnot. She's got a good following. She's got sponsorship. You know how it's everything's run on sponsorship money. She's got that. She wants to perform.
Right. Interesting thing I just saw in this one article is the Truck Series have extended practices at races at Daytona, Atlanta, Bristol Dirt, Knoxville, Sonoma, Mid-Ohio, Nashville, and the Phoenix season finale. They've extended the practice time for those races, which is a good thing. So that's really all I had. In fact, I've been kind of watching her. I didn't get a chance to watch her race yesterday because I was out of town. But I've been kind of watching what she does, kind of following along with her because I'm interested to see how far she goes and the fact that she's putting a real effort into this deal. So,
Oh, absolutely. I mean, And like you said, and I'm going to take it to the extreme. She's not trying to do it on her looks.
No.
She's trying to do it on her ability and her talent.
Right.
One last thing I had, it was a minor tidbit. They announced the spring race. I think it said Martinsville.
Yeah,
The April 9th race is going down to 400 laps instead of 500
yeah.
to accommodate for the 7 p.m. or 7:30 p.m. start time. So they're taking 100 miles or 100 laps out of it. So that was a small little thing they kind of posted today. Or not today, but this past week. So they're shortening the spring race, Martinsville race.
I saw something about that on Facebook. I'm not real happy about that idea. I like the longer. I like the leave the race. I mean, they're going to charge. They're going to charge the same money for the teams to get into the race. They're going to charge the same money for the fans to see the race.
Kind of like Frito Lay, well, they're going to take about half the chips out and charge you the same price.
Mm-hmm.
Granted, the argument's going to be that it's only 50 miles, but that last 100 laps is what makes that race. The attrition and all that.
That'll transfer to the last 400 last lap of this race because of the length. There's the same tenacity, the same enthusiasm to go to the last 100 laps still going to be there. I just think shortening the race just doesn't. I don't know. Where they going to stop at? Is what I'm getting at. If they shorten this race, which race is next? Are they going
Well,
to
they've been
continue?
doing it for. I mean, I'm old enough to remember going to both Michigan races for 500 miles.
I don't
You know,
remember. Yeah.
um, I'm sure there are reasons that are above my pay grade, and I
Right.
get that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But so many, in my opinion, so many decisions that NASCAR has implemented over the last probably close to 20 years are not fan based. It's
Right.
more cost. Uh, they've done so many things that have not taken the interests of the fans into account. Um, I mean, I don't mean to get all philosophical here, but I long for the days of, win on Sunday, buy on Monday. If you ain't cheating, you ain't winning. Uh, I just don't think them. I mean, I'm willing to give this new car a chance. I just don't think that the frame of a Toyota is the frame of a Ford or a Chevy.
Agreed.
All right. And I think it should mean the parts and pieces should be manufacturer based.
Yeah.
Not vendor based or team based or whatever they've. Again, I'm willing to give it a chance, but I just don't like this total control. Because I'll go back to I'm old enough to remember what the S in NASCAR stands for. The people that run NASCAR have done forgot about that. My opinion, take it or leave it. I like it when Joe Gibbs comes up with something with his Toyota that beats Jack Roush for a couple of weeks, and then Jack Roush figures out something that beats Joe Gibbs and Rick Hendricks. And then Rick Hendrick comes up and finds something that beats the two of them. And the manufacturers stick together, they run their own parts, it's supposed to be a competition instead of everybody gets a damn trophy sport.
Right.
Again, my opinion, and I don't want to see everybody on an even playing field. I want to see all of them fighting and scrapping for every advantage that they can get using the manufacturer that they have chose to run with. And again, now that you've got the same frame for all three manufacturers, how is that stock? Somebody, please, I'm willing to listen. Explain that to me. I will give concessions to every part of the safety components that they want to put in these cars. I will never stop. I've seen too many guys that aren't here no more or have been seriously injured and can't race anymore. So I'm all about installing the safety ends of things. But when it comes to each individual race team and their manufacturer, get the hell out of the way. Use the stock parts manufactured by the company, and let's go see who can make them work best. And if Toyota can't keep up with GM, or GM can't keep up with Toyota, or Ford smokes them for let them figure it out.
Right.
But you cannot, by definition, call it stock car racing when there ain't a damn thing about any of this that's stock.
No.
Rant over.
I think I heard that from you before, but yeah, I agree. You know, there's nothing, you know, the safety issue's fine. Protect the driver, protect the fans. That's what they're for. But if that front end, if that blue oval's in front of that car, there should be blue oval under the car.
And under the hood, and in the rear end,
Right.
and the body style.
Mm-hmm.
And if they have trouble hooking up with drafting on a Chevy or a Toyota, they'll figure it out.
Now, they've done it in the past.
Yeah.
You know?
Believe me, these guys, they don't want to go into turn one at Daytona or Talladega doing 225, knowing they may not come out the other end. They're going to figure out how to do it and do it respectfully.
Right.
You know, there's just too. I said ran over, so I'll quit. I'm done. I'm done. I've got a lot, but I'm done. Gentlemen, I think that was a great show.
Agreed.
I want to also encourage anybody that's watching this. We just got done about an hour and a half ago doing an interview with an up and coming, hopefully, ARCA racer. His name is Josh White. He's ex-military. He's doing everything he can to get out there and race all the time. We highly encourage everyone to do what they can do to support him. Brian, you said you've got some links up to direct people towards him.
It'll be in the description whenever it gets done. I'm gonna need all the links, but I put his Twitter in the overlay when we were talking to him. But whenever the video goes live, which I don't think it'll be tonight, I'm gonna need all the links to his stuff and his sponsorships. I don't know if it's on his Facebook, but he said quite a bit, so I'm gonna have to research a little bit to get everything. To get in the description, but it'll be there. It'll get to where he needs to go, where they need to go, the help, or even get to it. But if you want to watch that interview, I think it's 25 minutes. It'll be up probably tomorrow or the day after, whenever I get to it.
Awesome. The gist of the situation is for $20, you can get your name on his car for 3 races, and there's other levels where you can get pit passes and a meet and greet for X amount of dollars. But once Brian gets those links up, y'all can check it out and do what you feel is right. But he's a great guy. We had a great interview with him, so I hope people support the man.
Trying to get the link up, but
on the fan sponsorship, it is $20 for the first race, and you're discounted to where you can get all 3 races for $50. For $250, you get to meet him and get a pit pass. For $500, you get to do a pit pass, meet the team, have lunch with the team, and hang out with them.
Yeah,
So,
there's a graphic. $20 your name
Yeah.
on the car, $250 your name on the car, pit pass, a pic and picture with the car, and $500 ultimate fan experience. Your name on the car, pit pass, lunch with the team, and pictures with Josh, team, and the car.
So if you can, we encourage you to help support a veteran and support a driver trying to make his way up in the ranks. A really nice guy, and just keep an eye out for him. Josh White.
Well, he's racing at Charlotte, Smithsville, I believe it's called. It's in Illinois,
Spring Hill.
and then Bristol,
Right.
and then depending on
I'd
how
love to go.
those depending on how those goes, he might do more races. But those are the 3 set right now.
Those are the ones that are in stone, and depending on his performance in those races, he may do more. And God bless him. He's a hell of a dude. He told some personal stories. I'm not gonna tell here concerning his family. Watch the interview. He's a good guy.
Other than that, yeah, we're good to go. It's an hour and 6 minutes, so it's pretty much right on par with normally what we do. So we can end it there.
Hey, gentlemen, and we'll talk after this is over for a minute. And
All right,
thanks, everybody.
Yep. Let me do the music and cut it out, and I'll let you know.
Enjoy the show. Thanks for watching. See you next week.